Okay, today we are going to talk about Reinhardt for a while. In our ongoing series to talk about how all of the tanks do their job, we're going to start with Reinhardt, because he is the tank of Overwatch. If you imagine a tank in Overwatch, Reinhardt is probably the one you picture first. So, we're not going to talk about any of what Reinhardt's buttons do. I'm going to assume you know all of that, and we're just going to talk about how you play Reinhardt in practical terms. So, Reinhardt's a hero that's very intimidating to learn how to play, even though he is quite simple, actually. Because, obviously, he's very mechanically simple to play, because, you hold left-click over the enemies and you hold right-click over your allies. Pretty straightforward, not much to it in that regard. But, it's all game sense and decision-making. And that's basically all of the tanks. Most of them are pretty light mechanically to play. It's all about mechanics and decision-making, basically. Like Roadhog and Orisa are kind of the exceptions to that, but it's still a lot of game sense and decision-making. So, Reinhardt is the one that steers the bus. So you have to decide, how am I going to get this bus to the destination? And this is why we're on Temple of Anubis, because I think this is one of the clearest examples of the thing I'm going to try and describe. So, when you're playing Reinhardt, you have to go, alright, I need to get them to the checkpoint. How do I get them there? And on Anubis, you've only really got two options. Theoretically, you've got three options, but no one goes through the street because it's a death trap. So you've only realistically got two options. You can go left and you can go right. Most people just go left because it's the way people always want to go, because then you can try and get them off the high ground, because they're gonna be up there, some of them at least, that's just how it is. So if you go up this way, you can actually just try and push up onto that area and control it. Here's the thing, though. As Reinhardt, sometimes you're gonna look in that doorway, and you're gonna see, like, a Symmetra and a Junkrat in there. And they're gonna be spamming into the area, and you're gonna go, that's really hard to push through, I don't know if I want to do that, because you gotta walk them over there. And your shield's gonna take some damage just doing this, because there's gonna be some people up there shooting at you. And then you gotta try and get through this tiny area while Symmetra's throwing balls through, you can't do anything to block that. And there's a Junkrat spamming in here, and then you gotta go through this tiny area, and then, you gotta come up through here, and it doesn't really get any better at that point. So, you don't want to go that way, as Reinhardt. Even if you've decided with your team that you were going to go left ahead of time, you now go, we can't go through there, because I can't protect my team going through that area. Instead, we're going to go right, because if they're over there, fuck, they can't hit me if I'm going right, can I? There's fucking walls in the way, so we're going to go this way. Rest of the team are probably just up there, so we can block them, that's no problem, it's one direction, and then we walk our team slowly up this way. Then we disappear around here, and then we decide, do we want to go over here and try to get them off that, and then do we go up there and just circumnavigate them completely? And then that's starting to get really map-specific at that point, and we're just here really to talk about Reinhardt, so I'm not going to get super into that. But you have to kind of, this all varies by map to map, of course, but I think Anubis is one of the clearest examples of this. Most 2CP maps are kind of this way. And then there's another big one at the second checkpoint where most people, this is a very common mistake with Reinhardt players, especially in lower SRs, where they go, the checkpoint is right there. Let's go, team. And we're gonna walk across the bridge, but we're walking into a soldier, a Junkrat, and a Bastion, so my shield breaks long before I even get to that point, realistically. You go like, alright, we're gonna go, team, and shield's broken. Okay, so we're gonna wait here for a while we get shelled to death. Alright, we've probably lost somebody at this point. Alright, let's go again. And my shield's broken again, and now I'm just in the middle of the bridge, and I got killed, and my entire team got killed, and their Reinhardt was there, so I didn't even get to try and earth shatter them. And it's just really sad. You gotta go, alright, their team comp can't go across the bridge. It's just not feasible in any way. We're gonna have to go around somehow. We're gonna have to go, like, left and just try to get around that area. Maybe we go right, maybe we go under and try to get, like, that way around. We just know the bridge is not an option against that team comp, so we just write it off completely. We go, team, we can't do that. We're just gonna go a different way. However, if their team is something like Reaper Genji, they are not gonna break your shield very quickly, so at that point you can just walk across the bridge at them, because you will be able to get your shield all the way across the bridge against a team like that, because they just don't break your shield very quickly. You might still not necessarily want to do that, but at that point the bridge does become an option because of the team comp. So part of playing Reinhardt is recognizing that kind of situation and being like, alright, so that option is just not feasible. There's a lot of stuff in here I can't block, there's a lot of things on the bridge that are just going to break my shield, something like that. Or simultaneously, you might go, oh, there's a bastion up there, so that means my shield is going to break really quickly, so that means we can't go this way because my shield will break before I can get people to the doorway. Even if I do, we're going to get in here with, like, no shield, so I have to wait for it to regenerate while they're still pressuring us the entire time. And then we have to do this, but my shield's going to break before we even get up the staircase. So then you look up there and you go, alright, there's a bastion up there, can't go right, because my shield is just not going to do it. We instead have to get a little bit more creative if there's a bastion there, because at that point, Reinhardt's shield becomes very fragile. So we go, alright, we have to expose our shield to bastion as little as possible so that we can actually get our team somewhere. So then, we have to come around this way, because we've already established we can't go right, so there's no point going up that side. In general, it's usually better to go left, but most people don't want to go this way because it takes a little bit longer to get up the stairs. You go, alright, there's a bastion. We can only really go left because I have to have my shield up for less time while I'm doing that. So we have to, like, really quickly usher everyone through the door. Alright, got in here. Bastion's not going to have moved over here quickly. Now we can sit in here. Bastion's going to be out here, but if they've got a bastion, they're going to be pretty set in one location. So at that point, we can sit in here and we can just play the poking and prodding game, and we've got a health kit to support us, and then hopefully, because we have superior resources in here and, like, a pretty decent position, because, like, the Bastion team is not going to advance into us, really, right? They're going to sit and protect the Bastion. And then we can sit in here and play the shield poking prodding game. We've got a health kit, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, hopefully, we dislodge the Bastion, and then it all goes from there. So that's, like, part of the decision-making that comes into playing Reinhardt. You have to go, it's just not feasible. Our team can't go that way because their team is X. And then sometimes you just go, well, there's not much point in me playing Reinhardt right now because my team is like Genji, it's like Genji, Tracer, Pharah, so it's like nobody's even going to stand behind my shield, so there's just no point even playing Reinhardt. So you have to do that. And then another part of playing Reinhardt, there's a whole thing about Reinhardt versus Reinhardt that we'll get into later. More general things right now. So, the other part of playing Reinhardt is that you have to be able to recognize which team has more tempo, which is sort of a nebulous way of putting it. What I basically mean, whichever team has the tempo advantage is the team that is currently applying more pressure. Because most people don't think of it as... Most people think of Overwatch as the attacking team is the only team that applies pressure. That is not true. The defending team can definitely also apply pressure. Because in the example that there's a Bastion and a Junkrat over there, and you're trying to walk in this way, would you say that the attacking team is pressuring the defending team, or would you say the defending team is pressuring the attacking team? Because I would say the defending team is pressuring the attacking team. So you have to recognize, alright, they've got more pressure right now than we do, so we kind of have to play around that. So like, I'm going up here, oh, that's a lot of pressure, I'm not liking that, I'm going to back up and wait a little bit, and then we're going to try something different. And then also you have to, and then part of it is also recognizing, if we give a different example, suppose we came up this way, and the enemy team is something like, this is going to be a really exaggerated example just to illustrate a point. Their team is like Genji, Torbjorn, Orisa, Zarya, Zenyatta, Anna. That team applies almost no pressure to your team because they are fairly low presence heroes across the board. So then you come into this area and you think, fuck, they can't do anything to my shield at all. And my team is like, we're all here, we've got like health, maybe we've got some ultimates, who knows, they've got really low presence team. I'm just gonna walk straight at them, because realistically, there's nothing they can do to stop me doing that, because they can't physically apply enough pressure to me to stop me. So I'm just gonna walk straight at them, and then they're gonna go, oh, fuck, like, what do we do right now to stop that? We don't have a Reinhardt to stand behind, and we got, like, a Genji and a Torbjorn over here, and like, oh god, Torbjorn lost his turret. And then you recognize, alright, we've got the tempo advantage, let's just go at them. Let's just engage this fight right now, and you're just gonna walk your team straight up to them, and then they're gonna start retreating back, because they don't have enough pressure to stop you, and then you just slowly walk at them until they have nowhere left to back up into, and then you kill them. That's a really exaggerated example. You are very rarely going to find a team that is, like, that low in pressure. Like, you are usually going to run into, like, at least a soldier and, like, or a McCree or something, and they're going to have probably a tank that can stand up to you. But, like, that's a very clear example of, like, they've got no presence, our team's got plenty of presence, we're just gonna walk at them, because there's nothing they can do. And then this is the thing with Reinhardt. While you're learning to play Reinhardt, you're gonna fuck this up. You're gonna not know which team has the tempo, you're not gonna know what you need to try and avoid, what you can approach, what you need to try and circumnavigate. You're not gonna know these things. Because you have to actually learn. I've played hundreds of hours of Reinhardt. I mained him for like 5 seasons. I can tell if I'm gonna get my team somewhere and how to get my team somewhere. You're not gonna know. You're gonna fuck it up. You're gonna get people killed. You're gonna get yourself killed. It's gonna happen. But you have to kind of just muscle through that. And then you just go, alright, we died. Was that my fault? If so, alright, maybe just dial it back a bit next time, because that was probably, if the team died, I was probably playing too aggressively, so I'll rein it in next time, that kind of thing. You just kind of have to get through this initial learning period, because you have to actually develop this sense. And if you played another tank and you're trying to play Reinhardt now, then this will be easier to pick up, because you're probably already used to feeling out pressure and, like, trying to protect your team. But there's a learning period that you're going to have to just try and get over, basically, because you're not going to know. As you're learning how to play Reinhardt, you're probably going to feel incredibly pressured all of the time until you can recognize gaps in the enemy's defense that you can just try and slip through. And then that ties nicely into the next part, which is Reinhardt versus Reinhardt. Because that's a large part of playing Reinhardt, is if you can outplay the other Reinhardt, you kind of just win the game. Like, it is almost that simple in a lot of cases. So, most people say that Reinhardt versus Reinhardt is like a chess game. That's it's nowhere near that complicated, honestly, because basically it all amounts to one thing. And that is, how can I get my Earth Shatter past that Reinhardt? Because that's basically what it all revolves. Earth Shatter builds up really quickly, because Fire Strike every time you hit somebody is like 7% charge. So you just do that a few times, got a low cooldown, you just use it on cooldown to build up Earth Shatter. Also, when you build up Earth Shatter, stop using Fire Strike, because part of that'll come up later, but if you, just on a baseline level, if you Earth Shatter the enemy team, you will want to have Fire Strike to actually, like, try and kill the people you've Earth Shattered. So, once you have Earth Shatter, stop using Fire Strike, because that's basically what it's for. If you think you can kill someone with Fire Strike, then by all means use Fire Strike to kill someone. But, as a general rule, if you have Earth Shatter built up, stop using Fire Strike. So a lot of playing Reinhardt is trying to get the Earth Shatter past the enemy Reinhardt, and that largely comes down to sort of reading the enemy team. So, this is going to be an unusual position to illustrate this from, but imagine we're looking at another Reinhardt right now. Okay, so as Reinhardt, we do have an obligation to try and keep track of the enemy Reinhardt's Earth Shatter, because this is what so much of the matchup revolves around. And you can, just as like a basic barometer, if you have Earth Shatter, he probably has Earth Shatter as well. Unless you saw him use it recently, he probably also has it. And then as it goes, as you play more games and are in these situations more often, you'll learn to get a better feel for if the enemy Reinhardt has Earth Shatter or not. You do have to kind of keep track of it. So, just baseline though, if you have it, he probably also has it, because a lot of Reinhardts just kind of trade Fire Strikes back and forth with each other, and they eventually build up Earth Shatter. So a lot of it is like, alright, their Reinhardt's over there, our team's behind us. Just like, for argument's sake, assume all 5 people are behind both Reinhardts, okay? So, now, if we can Earth Shatter them, we win the fight. It's like, that simple. And there's a few ways we can do that. First off, low SR, even up to like Plat, Reinhardts will do this all the time. If you've got Earth Shatter, game lasted too long, leaving the game. Alright, we're just gonna start that one back up again. Don't worry, it's fine, we'll go to Eichenwald, that's German. It doesn't let you be in the game for that long, and I'm a very rambling person. So, just imagine for argument's sake, we've got 5 people behind both Reinhardts. We need to Earth Shatter them. There's a few ways we can do that. We can be better at managing our own barrier's health, which is kind of a whole thing in and of itself, but which we'll get into a little bit later because it's a little bit higher order. Let's do the baseline stuff first. The easiest way to get the Earth Shatter past the enemy Reinhardt is, you've built up Earth Shatter, you stop using Fire Strike at this point, because you don't need to use it anymore, and you watch the other Reinhardt. Up until, like, Plat, they will use Fire Strike constantly. Like, they will keep using Fire Strike even when they have Earth Shatter built up. So you just say to yourself, okay, I have Earth Shatter, he keeps using Fire Strike. As soon as I see him start using Fire Strike, I'm just gonna ult. And I'm just gonna slap the key, and I'm gonna ult them. And you have to not hesitate, that's the key. This is easier to do than you might imagine. I usually have like 80 ping, and I can still do this. Like, you just think to yourself, he's gonna do it. And as long as you're waiting for it, it's easy to react to. And then as soon as you see it, you just, bam, slap the key. You can't hesitate. You gotta think to yourself, as soon as I see it, I'm gonna do it. And then as soon as he fire strikes, bam, you ult the entire team, and then you fire strike through them, and then you just go and start swinging into the enemy team, and then you got play of the game. Easy money. And that's like the easiest way to fire strike the enemy team. That will work for a really long time. If you can just do that, you will probably get up to like Plat. Because honestly, like, it is almost that simple. If you can just slip your Earth Shatter past the enemy Reinhardt and hit his entire team, you're just gonna win the fight, and then you do that enough times and you win the game. It is almost basically that simple. There are a couple of other ways to do this, and then, like, one of them is barrier management. The other is if the enemy Reinhardt is gonna charge at you, you can do it as well, though there's a little bit of a caveat to this. If the Reinhardt is right next to you, you can't Earth Shatter him on reaction because he is too close to you. The animation takes too long. So you will try to Earth Shatter him. If he's just like he's the car, that close, he'll probably hit you before you can actually Earth Shatter him because the animation takes a surprisingly long time. So, you can't really do it when they're right next to you, but there are situations in which you can expect the enemy Reinhardt to charge at you, or maybe just take his hammer down and his shield down and start swinging at you. If, for example, he gets nano boosted, he's probably just gonna start running at you. Eventually, this will stop being the case as well, but for a really long time, Reinhardt's like, oh fuck, I got nano boosted, so I gotta go. Oh. If, like, Lucio uses Sound Barrier, Moira starts using Coalescence, Zarya Gravitons your team, the Reinhardt at that point is probably going to be like, let's go. And he's going to charge at it. Did that right next to the microphone. That's going to have sounded terrible. I'm sorry. And he's going to go, let's go. And he's going to charge at you. And if you just think to yourself, he's probably going to start charging at me. And then you're ready for it. And as soon as you see him start charging, you can do it. Again, he does have to be a certain distance away from you for this to actually work, but that's another way to do it. And basically, a lot of playing Reinhardt is punishing the other Reinhardt for mistakes they make, which is usually they were too aggressive, because that's the easiest way to fuck up playing Reinhardt, is to play too aggressively. Ultimately, you are a defensive hero, so you want to be playing defensively. So if the enemy Reinhardt is too aggressive, it's really easy to punish them. And those are like the two easiest ways to slip an Earth Shatter past the enemy Reinhardt. The other way is he uses his Earth Shatter, you block it, 9 times out of 10 they immediately start charging, and then you just Earth Shatter. If he Earth Shattered, he's gonna operate under the assumption that he hit you. So then you just immediately Earth Shatter back, and you probably get him as well. Unless you just immediately see him put his shield back up, in which case he admitted, okay, no, that didn't work, and then you just have the giant ult advantage at that point. But usually they Earth Shatter. If they miss it, then they just keep going forward, and then you Earth Shatter them right back. The other way is and this is the easiest way, but not the easiest to set up. Reinhardts and lower SRs as well are really bad at, and this persists for a really long time, actually. But Reinhardts are typically very bad at managing their shield, because, and this is one of the bigger parts of playing Reinhardt, is managing your shield HP, because Reinhardt is entirely based around the shield. Moira has, like, resource management because of her healing beam, but, like, Reinhardt's the other one who basically has resource management, because you have to manage your health on your shield. And the reason people are bad at this usually is they just kind of hold up their shield without really thinking about why they're holding their shield up, right? They just stand here, and they're just holding their shield up, or they're over here, and then they're just standing like here, holding their shield up. Really, you want to have your shield up as little as possible. You should know why you have your shield up, and then you should only have it up for that reason. You see a Reinhardt that's got like 60k damage blocked, and you go, wow, he blocked a lot of damage, that's impressive. He probably did not need to hold up his shield for that entire period of time. He probably let his shield get broken several times, and that's how it got that high. The higher the damage blocked is, kind of the worse the Reinhardt might actually be, because you actually want to have your shield up as little as possible. You should know why you have your shield up, and then you are only using it for specific reasons, which is you're protecting people from damage. Which sounds, I say that, and then you probably go, well, yeah, obviously you use the shield to block your team, to prevent your team from taking damage, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how people are with this. 'Cause imagine, very common, you're attacking, imagine we're standing here, but our team's like Pharah Genji. Pharah's up there, Genji's over there, Mercy's probably up with the Pharah. We've got, like, one person standing behind us right now, and, like, we're barely getting shot at. No reason to hold the shield up. Because they're shooting at, like, the Pharah. They're not shooting at us. They're trying to deal with the Genji. They're not shooting at us. There's no reason to hold your shield up, because they're probably not shooting at you. Other reason, suppose you're defending, and your team, for one reason or another, your team is not behind you right now. It's not important. There's nobody here, and just imagine that, like, both teams are resetting, or something like that. And there's, like, a D.Va over there, just kind of shooting at us. Most Reinhardts will still just hold their shield up against the D.Va. There's no reason to do that, because the D.Va, what's she doing? She's just shooting at your shield. You're not defending anybody from any meaningful damage. There might not even be anybody behind you, but D.Va's not doing any reasonable damage. And D.Va, right now, if both teams are resetting, she doesn't have anything to do, because she can't walk into your team right now either, because her team isn't there yet. So you standing here and holding your shield up against that is completely pointless. You're not actually... By holding your shield up in that kind of situation, D.Va has nothing to do baseline right now because her team's resetting. By holding your shield up, you give D.Va something to do. Because while she's waiting for her team to regroup, she can just be shooting at your shield. And yeah, it's not doing much damage, but it is doing some damage to your shield, and it is preventing it from regenerating any health as well, because you're holding it up. No reason, you can just stand out of the way. And you can just wait. D.Va's still just going to be standing out there. She's not going to be doing anything. She has nothing to do. You doing this gives her something to do. Just stand out of the way. People hold their shields up constantly, and you don't want to do that. You want to have it up as little as possible, because you should know why you have it up. Like, if you're defending, you're going to have it up more than if you're attacking, because as we established with attacking, it's a lot about, like, kind of ushering people in the right direction, because it's like, oh, we're going to go through here, alright, and hopefully we have a Lucio as well to make the process easier. We're going to go, like, through here, and then we're going to try and, like, push up this way, or something like that. Eichenwald is never that simple, but, like, something like that. Defending, you, will have to just kind of stand out here for a while and let your team shoot at the attacking team. And then, but the reason people are bad at shield management on defense is they aren't patient enough, is the issue. Reinhardt is a lot about patience, you want to go in there and you want to hit people and you want to go do damage because it feels good to hit them with the shield. You can't do that. The reason people are bad at shield management on defense is because they just have no patience. Like, they stand here with their shield up the entire time, and, sometimes people let it break. Don't ever let your shield break, also, because once it breaks, it goes on a cooldown before you can put it up at all. You always want to be able to put it up. Even if it's only got, like, 5 HP, that still blocks an entire D.Va ult, for argument's sake. Still blocks an Earth Shatter. So, don't ever let it break. You don't ever want to let your shield go on cooldown. But then people, they've got no patience. They see their shield goes really low, and they stand out of the way over here, and they're like, alright, 900 health is probably enough, let's go back out here now. But the thing is, we've already established you don't want to let your shield break, so if you've got 900 health, you can't let it take the entire 900 damage, because once it gets to like 200, you're like, oh, I kind of have to get out of the way now, because otherwise it's going to break. So really, your shield would only have 700 HP, which is only slightly better than a Winston shield. People got no patience. Just like, alright, my shield's low HP, I'm gonna stand over here, and I'm gonna let it regenerate up to a decent amount. You don't always have to let it regenerate up to full. Don't take it too far. You don't have to sit here and be like, alright, they're kind of pushing through the doorway, but I'm not yet at 2,000 HP. I'm at like 9,800. I'm gonna wait. No, like, just let it get to a decent amount. Like, 1,500 is probably fine in most cases. Just let it get to a decent amount. So people are like, alright, Let it regenerate 900 HP. Alright, let's go. Alright, and broken again. Alright, excellent. Okay, now their Reinhardt's coming in with a full shield, and I've got 300 health on my shield. Alright, and my team got killed. That's how it always goes. Like, just be patient. Let your shield regenerate its health, because if your shield is constantly low HP, you are not really playing Reinhardt, because you're always just playing with, like, a hobbled leg, basically. Like, just let it regenerate. Be patient. And then the other now, like, so shield management, those are like the gist. Don't block things that are, like, not really meaningful damage. If nobody's behind you, no need to hold the shield up, because the whole point is to block damage for other people. You can just stand out of the way, right? And then if somebody tries to push through, okay, you come and stand in their way. But, like, nobody's behind you, no need to hold the shield up, because why? Okay, I'm protecting myself. This wall protects me, and the wall has infinite health, so there's no need for me to do that. And just be patient. Like, shield management gets kinda complicated, but those are the baseline things. You're always blocking for somebody else, and you're blocking actual damage. You're not blocking just trash damage that doesn't amount to anything, because that doesn't, you don't need to block that. The D.Va standing 10 meters, like 1,000 meters away from you, peppering your team is doing nothing. You don't need to block that. And just be patient and let it actually regenerate before you come and stand out in the way. Those are like the biggest things. It gets a little more complicated than that sometimes, but that's like the baseline theory. So now, right, the other reason Reinhardt players are really bad, the shift key. Because this is the best button in the game for throwing an entire game, honestly. Like, so many games have been thrown because the Reinhardt wanted to push shift when he was not allowed to push shift. Most Reinhardt players, this is gonna sound like an exaggeration, I swear to God it is not an exaggeration. Most Reinhardt players would see a drastic increase in performance if they charged 90% less. Like, there are very few reasons in the game to charge, and you need to know why you're pushing this button. You need to know why you're charging. Because people, they just charge without thinking about it. They're just like, I want to hit them, I'm going to pin the guy, and I'm going to hit him, and we're going to do damage, and then I'm going to hit them. Oh, I got CC'd, or I got killed before I even arrived, or just like, there, Reinhardt countercharged me, and I died, and then, oh no, because I was defending and left the team, now my entire team's dead, and we lost the checkpoint. And that's how it goes. This is the best ability in the game for throwing games. You need to know why you are charging. And there are only a few specific reasons to charge. The most common one is, again, you're staring at another Reinhardt. He charges at you. You do not, most people will get out of the way. Don't do that. Because because here's the reason you don't want to really just get out of the way. What's behind you? Right? You, imagine, alright, I see Reinhardt charging at me, get out of oh, and there goes Mercy. Oh no, and she got pinned and she got killed instead. If the enemy Reinhardt charges at you, you're standing like here, let's assume you're positioning properly, you're standing like here, and then their Reinhardt does the traditional bad charge, where he's like 1,000 miles away from you. He's like here, and he's like, I'm coming right at you. You've got all the time in the world to react to this. You're positioning well, so you're with your team, like here, you know? You don't usually stand, like, up in the gate, because it's really easy to die here, but, like, again, that's getting kind of specific. Assume you're standing with your team, he charges, you're like, alright, and then you countercharge, and you get him, like, here. You're closer to your team than he is to his team. So, you countercharge. This used to do damage, it doesn't do that anymore, so Reinhardt isn't randomly killing Doomfist, which I think is stupid, because now it's harder to punish bad Reinhardts, but that's a different issue. You bump into each other, you're both CC'd right here, your team's right here, his team's all the way over there, like, what the fuck is he doing, that idiot? Your team are gonna kill their Reinhardt, and then you're gonna get back up, and you're gonna start blocking for your team again. And that's how you stop that. Most people just get out of the way, and then, oh no, Mercy's dead. If you know with absolute certainty that you getting out of the way is not going to result in somebody on your team dying, alright, it's not the end of the world to do so. It's usually still better to countercharge him though, because it's just easier to kill the Reinhardt. Because as well, imagine this, right? I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, I get out of the way. He goes over there, bearing in mind, now he's over there, so he's staring at my back line. My back line have become the front line to him. So he comes all the way over here, and he turns around and he's like, and my whole team gets hit, except for maybe me. That's also terrible. So it's still usually better to countercharge him, because don't forget, alright, I dodged. He's deep in my team now. fuck, who's gonna block his Earth Shatter? My whole team died again. So, you still, even if you know with certainty no one will get pinned behind you, still usually better to do, because just, he's CC'd here, can't do anything, my whole team's here, they kill him, I get back up, I keep doing my job. Then maybe they're trying to follow him, I Earth Shatter them as soon as they get back up. Just countercharge the other Reinhardt. That's like the most common reason to use charge. The other reason is to punish people for bad positioning. Because just imagine, alright, I'm standing here, I'm doing my thing, I'm playing Reinhardt, and then their Reinhardt, he decides he's just gonna try and walk his way in. And he's like, I'm just gonna sneak my way in here. And as soon as I see him get to the corner, like, and his team isn't really following him, as soon as I see him get there, I'm just like, shh. And he doesn't really have much time to get out of the way, either. This is the thing. This is the main thing with charge as well. You want the charge to be as short as possible because you don't want the enemy team to have more time to react to it. If he's just, like, right there and I'm, like, right here, he has to react really quickly to that. And then worst case scenario, we bump off each other. He's still closer to my team than I am to his, probably, because in this example, his team is not really following him. He's just trying to sneak his way in. And he's not allowed to do so, so I'm like, alright, you're overstepping your boundaries, I'm gonna pin you against the wall and punish you. Worst case, we bump off each other, my team's still right here, your team's still over there, you still die, I still get to get back up and do my thing. Or I'm standing like here, and then I turn around and I see, oh, Roadhog's trying to walk up through here. And I pin him against the wall, and then my team kills him again. The best uses for charge are just countercharge the enemy Reinhardt, or punish someone for over-positioning, but in that example, you still want the charge to be as long as possible. You do not want to be over here and be like, there he goes. Oh, because then he's got 1,000 years to react to you, and then it's just like, oh, he gets out of the way. Shit, now I've overstepped my boundaries, and then he pins me against the wall and kills me instead. You want the charge to be as short as possible, so that they just have less time to react to it. Now, you can take that too far the other way, because the charge kind of gets inaccurate if you're, like, point blank on someone, because the hitbox is, like, not as wide as you expect it to be, so if you're right next to somebody, it can be really easy to just sideswipe them and then they go off that way instead, and then, well, that didn't really work. But you want the charge to be as short as possible. You don't want the enemy team to have very long to react to it. Because they can just get out of the way, they have more opportunity to CC you. There's a few reasons here. You just want it to be as short as possible. And then the only other reason to use charge, really, is our team's engaged a fight. Like, I've just earth-shattered them. I'm gonna pin their tank against the wall, because it does a big chunk of damage, and then, like, they're all still earth-shattered. They can't possibly get pinned for, punished for charging them like that. Graviton, so I'm gonna, like, walk my way up to them a little bit, and then I'm gonna just try and charge that Reinhardt out of the way. That kind of thing. Sometimes you can use it to interrupt ultimates. Like, maybe I see Winston is primal raging behind me, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just try and pin him against the wall and take some time out of that. Roadhog comes out of this doorway, like, using whole hog or something. I'm like, alright, I'm just gonna pin him against the wall, because he's not looking at me. You really don't want to charge often. You need to know why you are charging. Like, before you push the shift key, think to yourself, why am I pushing the shift key? And if you can't give yourself a clear reason for doing it, do not do it. You have to be able to say to yourself, because he's overstepped his boundaries. Because I'm countercharging him. You have to have a clear reason for doing it, because this is how you throw the game. You're like, I want to hit them, and then, oh no, everyone's dead. Don't do that. Charge is a very easy way to throw the game. And then that's like the main crux of playing Reinhardt. The is mostly about feeling out pressure and, protecting your team. And I guess this is the other thing. Just remember that you're a tank, and your primary role is blocking damage. So that always takes precedent over everything else. It's like a healer. If you're playing Moira, right, she can do damage and she can heal people, but she's a support. Her number one priority is healing people, and then doing damage comes secondary to that. It's the same with tanks. Your main role is blocking damage. Doing damage yourself comes secondary to that. Realistically, if you're playing Reinhardt, you should have very low damage by the end of the game. If you look at your medals and you go, I've got gold damage and gold eliminations, what the fuck, DPS? The problem is actually probably you. Because you are actually trying to play Reinhardt like a DPS at that point. and you're probably not actually doing anything to protect your team, and you're probably not actually creating any space for them, so your DPS are not getting to do any damage, because you're just like, alright, I'm gonna attack, there's their Reinhardt, I'm gonna pin him against the wall right here, and just go into them swinging, and then just like I hit a few people and I've done like 700 damage. Meanwhile, my team over here, I just left them behind, Roadhog's like, sick, Mercy's dead, nice. Genji's just like, nice, more people who are unprotected, and I'm just gonna walk in and kill them. Like, the problem is probably you are trying too hard to do damage, and you're not trying hard enough to actually block damage for your team. That's the number one thing. Even if you're in the middle of a team fight and you can hit the enemy team, usually blocking damage is still better. Because think about it, right? This is the clearest example I always give. Imagine you've got a soldier. You're playing Reinhardt, you have a soldier right next to you. The enemy team, just a soldier. Most people in this situation will run at the soldier trying to swing their hammer at them. What you should actually do is put your shield in front of your soldier. Because, think about it. Their soldier does not have a Reinhardt, so he's just standing out in the open. Your soldier is stood behind a shield. He can't lose the fight, because he can't take damage. So he wins the fight by default. Don't think, I need to go and kill this soldier. Think to yourself, I need to protect my soldier so he can kill that soldier. I don't have to do anything at all. I can just sit back here holding right click and let soldier deal with the problem for me. Oh, that's so much easier. Oh, Reinhardt's great for people who are lazy like me because you can let other people deal with it. You're in the middle of a team fight and you're just like, alright, I'm just gonna hold my shield in front of my team and walk at you. Oh, I don't have to do anything because my DPS are just the ones shooting and they can't lose the fight because my DPS have a shield and yours don't. Often I'll just be standing here getting swung on by the other Reinhardt and yeah, he's hitting me, but he's getting hit by my entire team. So he's gonna die first. And then when he's dead, I'm just like, alright, now they're all dead. Because he was not playing correctly. He thought he was a DPS, and he was just trying to kill me. I was actually playing like a tank, so I just let my DPS kill him, and then his entire team was exposed, because he was trying to play like he was a DPS. Blocking damage is your number one priority, and you have to think, how you protect your team. If you see someone get hooked, a lot of Reinhardts, they run up to the Roadhog and they start swinging at him. That's the exact wrong approach, because he's still gonna get shot. What you should do is you should walk up and put the shield between him and the Roadhog. Then the Roadhog can't hit him. Again, he can't die, because he's got a shield in the way and the Roadhog doesn't. Now that Roadhog, he loses the fight, because he can't hit your team. It's almost that simple. Reinhardt's a really easy hero to play. Really? Because you let other people deal with all the problems for you. The biggest thing you have to worry about is you have to worry about how you're going to get your team to the objective. And you have to worry about feeling out pressure, and you have to worry about managing your shield. And if there's another Reinhardt, you have to worry about blocking his Earth Shatter and getting your Earth Shatter past him. And it's basically that simple. Reinhardt is so easy to play because he has almost no mechanical requirement. It's all game sense and it's all decision making. And that just kind of gets easier with experience. Like I say, you're going to fuck this up, you know? You're going to be like, I can slip one more Fire Strike in, and the other Reinhardt, he's going to have been waiting for that, and he's going to punish you. And then you're going to go, I shouldn't have done that. Next time I won't do that. And you kind of just have to go through that process, you know? It gets easier as you do it. As you play more of Reinhardt, you get better at feeling out pressure. You get better at feeling out who has the tempo advantage. You get better at recognizing who is a threat and what you need to be blocking. Because sometimes a fight will be happening on two sides of you as well, and you have to decide what you're going to block. And then, so it's alright, there's a soldier over there, a soldier and a McCree over there, and there's a Reaper over there, but the Reaper's really far away. This is obvious, this is a really exaggerated example again, but it's just a clear example. You have to decide which side is more threatening and block that side. Reaper's far away? Alright, I'll block these guys because they can actually threaten my team. Reaper is currently not being a threat. Then when Reaper gets close to your team, then maybe you decide, alright, now he's more threatening, so I'm actually going to start blocking him instead. So, you have to decide. It's all about feeling pressure, protecting your team, deciding what is a threat to your team and how to block it, managing your shield, which is ultimately amounts to be patient and just think, why am I holding my shield up right now? And if you can't answer that question clearly, you should probably just not be holding your shield up. Because you have to be able to say, oh, because this guy's here, and I don't want him to take damage from the soldier. But if it's just like, oh, well, I'm actually just kind of blocking for myself, I'll just let the wall do that. Or it's like, oh, well, I'm getting shot at right now, but it's a Reaper from like 1,000 miles away, so I guess I don't need to hold my shield up for that either right now either. Just like ask yourself, why am I doing this? And if you can't answer it very clearly, stop doing it, because you probably don't need to be doing it if you can't answer that question very clearly. And then, so, just be patient, manage your resources, ask yourself, what am I doing right now? Am I being productive? No? Alright, I'll stop doing that. And then, trying to slip your Earth Shatter past the enemy Reinhardt, making sure he doesn't Earth Shatter your team, and just protecting your team. Remember, you're a tank, you're a bodyguard, you've got to make sure your team doesn't die. That's the important thing about playing Reinhardt, and ultimately that's the important thing with playing any tank. Just remember, I'm not the one that has to do damage. I have to make sure my team can do damage uncontested. And that's basically how you play Reinhardt. It's all decision making, it's all game sense, almost none of it's mechanics. You're gonna fuck it up, it's gonna happen, you're gonna make the wrong call, and you just have to learn from that, and it gets way easier the more you do it, because you go, alright, that was too aggressive, I'll rein it in. Or maybe you go, oh, or maybe afterwards you go, ah, shit, there was an opportunity right there. I should go more aggressive in that situation next time. And it gets easier. And as long as you're just thinking to yourself, I need to block damage, not do damage, and you're just trying to manage your shield, you'll do a fine job. Like, just don't push the shift key that often. You need to know why you're pushing the shift key. That's how Reinhardt throws games. He shifts when he wasn't allowed to shift. That's his barrier break. Lets the other Reinhardt Earth Shatter him. That's how Reinhardt throws the game. As long as you're paying attention to these things, it's harder to do. So, that's how you play Reinhardt. Just remember, I'm a tank, not a DPS. So thank you very much for watching. If you did have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.